In the news this week, absolutely yes. A prominent Perth community leader declares his vote on the Voice referendum. A WAMN News exclusive.
Cutting red tape for abortion as the TGA relaxes restrictions on prescription pill rules. Plus, no ordinary teenage boy. WA robotics enthusiast reaches new heights in World Championship. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loon and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. One of WA's prominent community leaders has decided to go public and declare his vote on the Voice to Parliament issue. MSC WA Executive Director Ramdas Sankaran says he'll be voting yes in the upcoming referendum. At the same time, rebutting ex-Liberal MLC Anthony Fell's reasons of voting no. Ramdas joined me exclusively this week. Ramdas, thank you for being with us. Will you be voting yes or no in the Voice referendum?
I am voting absolutely yes, Ivan, and I'm doing that for a lot of reasons, but a couple of reasons in particular, if I can start that way, is I was born in independent India and Republican India, and when I came to Australia in 1978, I was deemed to be a British subject, a very quaint definition when you consider what I just said in terms of being born in independent and Republican India. If I had been deemed to be an Aboriginal subject, that would have made more sense, because the Indigenous people have been here for 60,000 plus years, and the rest of us have been here just over 200 plus years.
The Yes campaign seems to be having a hard time gaining ground. Now, as a Yes voter, are you concerned about that?
Look, the Yes campaign clearly needs to step up a gear or two, without any doubt. And the figures that you just quoted justifies, doing just that. And I guess it's probably because when we first started out, clearly the Yes campaign was way in front of the No campaign. And more importantly, the majority of the parliamentarians did end up, supporting the Yes vote in Parliament. And that's why we now have a referendum. Otherwise we wouldn't have one. And I guess to some extent the Yes campaign factored that in and didn't expect such a concerted and, can I very clearly say, ingenious campaign to be mounted by the No vote.
The No campaign is targeting soft Yes voters, and the line is, if you don't know what you're voting for, vote no. There are many questions from the public regarding the Voice. What do you think?
Look, I'm not sure that the key points have not been answered. I think they're being distracted by other things, which are important things, of course, and I did refer to the fact that the Uluru Statement came up with three major things. One was the Voice, and the other two were truth-telling and treaty. Now, what the No campaign, or at least some parts of the No campaigners are using, is the fact that the Albanese government has chosen the easy option out by choosing the Voice and ignoring the other two. But I think it is important. We live in a conservative society, and if there's anything I've learned in the last 40 plus years, significant change can never be brought about other than in incremental fashion. So if we do get the Yes vote, the Yes vote for the Voice, then in the fullness of time, I have no doubt both truth-telling and the treaty will be addressed.
Ex-Liberal MLC Anthony Fell says there is constitutional danger in last week's interview. Do you believe that's an overstatement?
Look, I don't believe... Look, at the end of the day, the Voice and the Constitution change, I don't believe we need to be frightened at all. All we're doing there are two things. One is acknowledging and recognizing the occupation of, or the fact that the Indigenous people have been here for 60,000 plus, which is clearly important, which is clear not in there. And secondly, we are giving them the Voice, the mechanism which we call the Voice, to be a consultative mechanism so that governments can go to them in terms of both planning and implementing programs that are clearly needed to address the needs of Indigenous people, because we don't seem to have got very far in the last 5 or 10 decades. So I don't believe we have anything to fear. I think what's important, Ivan, is to recognize this. Yes, we've had other mechanisms. We had the ATSI, and other councils that were giving advice to the government. But those mechanisms could easily be gotten rid of, and they were gotten rid of, at the whim and fancy of a particular government. But by having this enshrined in the Constitution, future governments cannot do that. Look, I think people need to realize this. The voice, at the end of the day, is no big deal when you compare to what other democracies, both Western and Eastern, have done. In India, for instance, we have reserved seats in Parliament for people belonging to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, much further than what the Voice is being designed to do. And the Voice has got no veto powers.
And you can read more about this story right now on the WAMN Extra News Club. Ramdas Sankaran, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to share my views. Thanks a lot.
Changes have arrived for abortion pills, with the Therapeutic Goods Administration easing prescription restrictions. The latest change will mean easier access for women in need, while at the same time reducing red tape for doctors and registered pharmacies to prescribe the pill. These changes coincide with the Cook government's move to decriminalise abortion. Grace Harrington reports.
This week, the Therapeutic Goods Administration has scrapped restrictions on the prescription of medical abortion pills. Up until now, the MS two-step medication was incredibly hard to come by, as it was only allowed to be prescribed by a doctor with specialist certification. The product could then only be dispensed by a registered pharmacist. With the ease of these restrictions, MS two-step can now be accessed through any healthcare practitioner with the appropriate qualifications, and it is likely that nurse practitioners will also be allowed to prescribe the pill. To further increase accessibility, restrictions will be lifted for registered pharmacies. The announcement of these changes is incredibly timely to the Cook government's introduction of proposed reforms to WA's outdated abortion laws. President of the Australian Medical Association, Dr. Michael Page, spoke on these proposed changes.
One of the main changes is to make abortion less restricted by reducing the number of doctors who have to sign off on an early abortion from 2 doctors to 1, and probably to enable other health practitioners, including nurse practitioners, to do that in a suitable environment. So really, before these reduced restrictions can have an effect, that state legislation will have to pass the Parliament.
Should these changes come to fruition, Dr. Page believes that it will enhance access to medical abortion.
Look, I think it will enhance access to medical abortion. This is a type of abortion that can be done in the patient's own home. In other words, if it's before 9 weeks, at which point the embryo is very, very small, taking medication alone is pretty safe, it's pretty effective, and it doesn't require hospital or clinic care.
There has always been a huge stigma surrounding the matter of abortion, and the restrictions in place have only encouraged that. For women to be able to access this type of necessary healthcare without having to jump through hoops or contort themselves to fit into a certain box is imperative. Peter Abetz, WA State Director of the Australian Christian Lobby, believes that women should have a choice and that they should be supported either way.
I really think a greater awareness of the support that is available out there would actually make at least a small difference. My concern is that it almost appears that the relaxing of the rules has been a political decision rather than a genuinely medical decision.
Grace Harrington, WAMN News.
Hi there. Are you looking for a new home or want to refinance your car mortgage to get a better rate? At AA Finance Solutions, we have the expertise and knowledge to help you to find the right loan for your needs and budgets. Contact us today. Let us help you to make your home ownership dream a reality.
AA Finance Solutions, your local mortgage broker.
One of Australia's youngest self-made independent journalists, Leo Puglisi, will be appearing on ABC's Q+A this coming week. Leo is the founder of 6 News Australia and will be joined by several prominent young Australians and the Federal Youth Minister Anna Ali on the panel show. Guests will be answering questions in front of a live audience in Melbourne, and Leo is looking forward to the challenge.
There's so many issues to address, and that's why it's good that you've got the Minister for Youth there. But I guess making sure that young people have an active role in that, and also listen to broadly. We talk about lowering the voting age as another issue as well. So those will be really key. And look, it's good that there's actually people to discuss it with who are also in that age group and kind of understand it as well.
West Australian billionaires Andrew and Nicola Forrest have announced their separation this week. After more than 3 decades of marriage, the couple has made the decision to part ways. Andrew and Nicola have said in a statement to all shareholders that there will be no change to the control, direction or major shareholding owned by Tatarang and Dr. Forrest's associated entities. Throughout their time together, Andrew and Nicola have achieved some incredible things, including raising 3 children, Grace, Sophia and Sydney. What they are better known for, however, are their many successful business ventures. Despite their separation, Andrew and Nicola remain in alignment for the future direction of their various enterprises.
WA's credit rating has been upgraded to AAA by Moody's, while a household energy credit relief scheme has been announced by the government. This upgrade means a stable outlook and shows the state government's strong financial management and strong governance of the economy. One way the economically strong state government is helping Western Australians is through energy credits. From this week, every household in WA will receive at least $200 to go towards their electricity bill. Another $200 credit will arrive in the November-December billing cycle. More help will be given to those who are in need with it, with a $500 credit to around 350,000 vulnerable WA households receiving the energy assistance payment that will be split over 2 $250 installments. Small businesses will not miss out, being given $650 if they use up to 50 megawatts of electricity per annum.
Gosnells Police charged a 60-year-old man after a car chase in Armidale this week. The incident occurred when police were conducting a routine traffic stop on a Ford Falcon sedan on Southern River Road. As an officer approached the vehicle, the man allegedly reversed towards the police vehicle before accelerating heavily and speeding off. Quickly returning to their vehicle, the police officers activated lights and sirens and drove after the accused. The chase continued through Southern River, Gosnells and Champion Lakes before being terminated as the 60-year-old man refused to stop. The Ford Falcon was spotted again in Champion Lakes shortly afterward, and police tracked the vehicle to Hanson Road in Seville Grove. The accused fled on foot after dumping the vehicle and was located by police a short time later in rural bushland where he was arrested. He appeared at the Armidale Magistrates Court this week.
And now here's Leo Puglisi with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Thanks, guys. On 6 News, Fadden retained. The LNP holds on to the Gold Coast seat. A man charged with murder after a shooting in Adelaide that left 1 woman dead and at least 31 dead in landslides and floods amid days of torrential rain in South Korea. Watch live on our YouTube channel and our website, 6newsau.com. For now, though, it is back to you.
Thanks, Leo, and a big congratulations to Leo for his upcoming appearance on ABC's Q+A, which will be on ABC iView on Wednesday night. There's no way you're going to miss it, Ivan?
Absolutely no excuses. I think we all have to clear our schedules, finish work early to watch it live, then we can critique it, right? And Leo will be up with some very bright young people around the nation, and I might add the Federal Minister for Youth, Anne Ali, will be there as well, along with some very tough questions from live audiences. That's certainly something we look forward to. Now, speaking of which, Grace is here with Western Perspective, and Grace got more stories about some bright young people. Grace.
Thanks, Ivan and Melly. Welcome to Western Perspective. I'm Grace Harrington. At just 13 years old, Abraham, alongside his team of robotics enthusiasts, has placed in the top 59 teams in their division for the VEX Robotics World Championship in the US. If qualifying weren't already impressive enough for the young Perth boy, Abraham and his team can be proud to say that they are in the top 3% worldwide. Recently, his family managed to raise $5,000 for Abraham's journey to represent Australia in the competition. We find out what the future holds for this bright young man.
Abraham Gopinathan is no ordinary teenage boy. Earlier this year, with his team of robotics enthusiasts, Abraham has placed among the top 59 teams of the division for the VEX Robotic Championship in Dallas, Texas. Around the world, there are 28,000 middle school teams competing. Out of these teams, only 787 qualified for the World Championship.
We have to build a robot from scratch. So they hand us some pieces, but we have to do the design work and all by ourselves. And they'll have an obstacle course every season. So for this season, we just had to pick up some discs from dispensers, and then there'll be like a scoring zone. So the more points you get, the higher ranked you will be. And if you score a certain amount of points, there's even some, like, they'll take some teams out and they'll just move forward and forward until like the finals.
If qualifying weren't already impressive enough, Abraham and his teams can be proud to say they are in the top 3% worldwide.
Yeah, it means like I'm in the top 100, so that's already like pretty impressive. So out of like 28,000 people, which is already a lot, they had to narrow it down to like 726 teams already, just for the worldwide. So to come like top 100 is already amazing.
And
so
how many percent is that?
So it's the top 3%.
Right.
So that's why like it's pretty amazing.
In order to compete in the championship, Abraham's team was required to build a robot from scratch. He told WAMN News a little more about the process.
Everyone has like something they have to show, and like some people are good at coding, so that I learned some things from them, and also for building and techniques of how to make life easier. So in building the robots, and also like, you know, they've like give motivation too.
Abraham's younger brother Aaron has plans to one day beat his older brother in robotics, as the siblings have already competed against each other at the national level.
What we have achieved is because me and my brother and one more team went to national, and it's super fun.
Right. So you competed against your brother in the national side. Is it rare?
Yes, it is rare because only 3 teams from Western Australia came to national.
During their free time, Abraham and Aaron are volunteering monthly to help WA's homeless people, giving back to the community. While Abraham may need to keep an eye out for his brother at future robotics competitions, it's clear that he has been an excellent role model and mentor for Aaron and has some encouraging messages to share with his peers.
And I just want to say to like any kid, if they're like passionate about what they want to do, and if they strive for it, they will achieve it.
That was Abraham's story. You can read more of our weekly premium news stories now on WAMN Extra News Club, supporting independent local news and keeping democracy strong. And now, here is Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. Just a reminder that both influenza and COVID are still out there in the community. Important to take them seriously by always breathing fresh air, by masking up when in crowded indoor locations, particularly if you have any respiratory type symptoms such as cough and fever and so on, isolating from others. Very important to be vaccinated. So influenza is a seasonal vaccine once every year, and they adapt it every year to the strain of flu that they think is most likely to be in the community, and that's recommended for every age group. COVID vaccination, unfortunately, is still only available to those over 5 years of age, but we should have at least had the primary course, and whatever boosters are available for adults. And we should be continuing to advocate that the government give us what they have in the US and what they have in Singapore and Canada and many other countries, which is access to these incredibly safe vaccines for our youngest vulnerable babies and older, because they're still getting hospitalised occasionally with COVID. So although the bad outcomes are rare, no one wants it to be their child that has a short or a long-term problem with these viruses. Best avoided in the first place, and absolutely worth relying on vaccination to prevent the severe outcomes from all of these diseases. So be safe and get vaccinated. Talk to your GP if you're unsure which ones you and your family are due for. Thanks again.
That was Dr. Andrew Miller, and that's Western Perspective for this week. Until next Sunday evening, it's back to you, Ivan and Melly.
Thanks, Grace. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Don't forget to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly, Grace, Peter and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.